Hello and welcome to Athletes Camp on the eve of Red Bull X-Alps 2025. This is the first of our daily 9 p.m. news shows, and with me is Tom de Dornado. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you for having me.
Tom, what's the mood like at the moment? What are athletes feeling ahead of the race? I mean, it's just over 12 hours to go till it all kicks off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just love it. I just went through the camp and you can feel the atmosphere. It's building, the stress is growing. It's pretty silent, it's pretty quiet. Everyone is very concentrated. And I remember this energy, it's something special.
I guess there's a kind of feeling of you're just desperate to get on with the race now because you've had so much preparation, the planning, the admin stuff, and all it's a lot of admin this week as well.
You want to go, you want to start, you want to hear the start, but at the same time you're like, oh, did I forget anything? So it's pretty stressful. Everyone is kind of trying to finish things, polishing details and stuff. But I think we have extremely well prepared teams this year. I went around the camp and I was really mind blown by the preparation and the teams. They're very professional this year again.
What are athletes telling you?
Well, it's interesting. I have, lots of friends, obviously. So I've heard many stories. I've heard what happened during the prologue, what was very interesting. And I can see that the athletes, they look at the route and they're like, it's pretty serious. It's long, it's very long, it's complicated, it's difficult. It's very probably the most difficult one we have had, with many crossing of the main range. So it's going to be very technical, and it's a big chunk. If the weather is bad, maybe no one makes it to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Kriegel a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying, it's only 60 kilometers longer, but he reckons it's 40% more challenging. And with the Via Ferratas, they're basically like these sleeping policemen, these roadblocks that's just going to slow everything down. He's told his team to prepare for a long race. Yeah. And I think he always says that, doesn't he? He always sort of says,
He likes to. Everyone gets scared, like if Kriegel says that, everyone believes him. But I think somehow it's true, it's not only about the kilometers, it's about the difficulty. And this race is difficult. It's going to be a difficult one. Obviously, we have good weather coming, so that makes a huge difference. In the next days, tomorrow I already see the pilot quite far. It's going to be a good flyable day. So, but in 2 days there is a bit of rain, so anything can happen, as you know, in the X-Alps, and it's going to be very exciting to follow.
Let's rewind a bit. What did you make of the prologue? I mean, the top 10, you had only 3 veterans in the top 10, and maybe this is just because veterans are thinking, prologue, not so important, we'll take it. You don't think so?
I think it was a bit of a mess, to be honest. Yeah, I think it was a missed opportunity for some of the guys. Everyone wants to be on top on the prologue. There's not such thing as taking it easy, because it's a short race. You still have time to recover before the start, so everyone gives 100%. But with weather like we had, it's difficult.
Super stable.
Super
low
stable,
cloud base.
Low cloud base. If you're lucky, you get the right thermal, boom, you have a good crossing. Then if you're not, you just get low. Maybe you're in front, but it was better to wait a little bit. So, it was the whole deck of cards was shuffled many times, and I think it was a bit messy. But what is sure, and especially in this type of race where you have a lot of turn points, you have to sign here and there, you have Via Ferratas, it's really good to have a second night pass. Why is that? Because then you can adapt. If you see, hey, tomorrow I have to go through that Via Ferrata, well, maybe you use the night pass to make sure you do it before the good flying hours. And I think that's crucial. So I think Max and the other guys, they have a good advantage there, because it's not only about who has, the night pass, but also who hasn't, an extra night pass, and they have an advantage. So for Kriegel and the rest of the guys, it's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think.
In the past, we always used to say the prologue didn't make much difference. It was a kind of a little bit of a showcase of Red Bull X-Alps, a kind of one day kind of expo of the whole race. Mm-hmm. But maybe in the grand scheme of things over the course of 12 days, it's not really going to make a huge amount of difference. But I think on this occasion, it really is, especially for those at the back who finished several hours after the finishes.
I think it's also because in the past, we couldn't properly finish or have a proper race like this, a prologue that really lasts for some hours, because of the weather, because of this or that. So now we have had a long prologue. There's quite a big time difference between the first one and the last one, and that will make a difference, that's for sure. So we will see, and also let's not forget that it has, an impact. If you win, then you come with more confidence. If you're in the back, then it breaks your confidence a little bit. So
that's hugely important for Max Pinot, because as we all know, and he's been very public about this, you know, after 2023, he was very much thinking, I'm not going to do this race again.
Yeah,
he was doubts. Really, you know, he went way beyond his comfort zone and just thought he just took too many risks. And, you know, even in the last weeks and months, you know, there was some occasionally doubt that whether he was really going to show up. So, and as he said after the prologue, you know, it means a lot to win for him, second time in a row.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for him, it is that huge confidence boost. And also, perhaps it's no surprise that it was won, the prologue, by basically one of the world's best pilots.
I mean, let's be honest, like, let's be clear. Max is probably the best pilot in the world. He's won everything except Bull X-Alps. So he's here, and we know why. He wants to win. That's the only reason, you know. He wants to finish this.
But as we always say, Bull X-Alps isn't just a paragliding competition. It's not just a classic, you know, XC task. It is the whole package. It is that adventure. It is that whole risk dynamic is part and parcel, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I like to say. You know, we always talk about the Bull X-Alps saying this is the toughest adventure race. But what do we remember about that? It's like, okay, it's an adventure race. And I like the adventure part, and the adventure part is so big. Like, obviously, you know, if you here for racing, this is not a typical race. This is an adventure. And for guys like Max, and I think he's a very smart guy, and he knows how to manage risk and stuff. And so he thinks a lot. He's sometimes maybe an overthinker, you know, in a way. So for him to go through this adventure and, you know, having to deal with frustration, with mistakes, and with dangers, it's sometimes a little bit overwhelming, like for every one of us, obviously. But Kriegel comes and he has already 8 victories. He's pretty chill, you know. But Kriegel is not getting younger, you know, and he's extremely strong. We've looked at his statistics. He's been training like a beast. Obviously, we know why, because he knows that flying-wise, he's okay. He's got it. He knows the Alps by heart. But physically, maybe, you know, the rookies and the young guys, they come really strong. They recover really fast. So it has to work on that. And that's going to be super interesting. My guess, and I love Kriegel, and he's one of the best, obviously, if not the best. But I'm not sure he's going to win this time.
So funny you say that.
Yeah. What do you think?
I've had a few conversations like that maybe, but you know, we say this every year. We say this is the year.
I know.
You know, someone else is going to come through. But I was speaking to Thomas Turelat a couple of weeks ago, a long-time supporter of Kriegel. In fact, he was one of the, you know, as you know, architect in many ways, co-architect of many of those victories. And he said, don't get me wrong, Kriegel is an absolute beast. He's super strong in the mountains on foot.
Right.
But statistically, top athletes always make a mistake. And Kriegel is yet to make that mistake, and statistically, that mistake will come. Although we did think that in 2023 when I can't remember exactly where it was. I think it was near Davos, where he just got low and just stayed there for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I saw him down there and I thought, this is it. And the guys were already passing the Furka Pass or the Oberhalt Pass, I don't know. And he was 45 kilometers behind, and then he came back.
So he can recover.
Kriegel has his, you know, these magic moves. Obviously, he's really strong. What happens is that when he gets in front, everyone kind of follows him, you know, because Kriegel knows the way. I think this is going to change. We know now that if we want to beat him, or if the guys want to beat him, they have to come with different ideas. They have to come with different paths. They have to try different options. And the young guys, you know, they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to prove. They're going to push. And I think it's going to be super interesting.
Well, this is what Thomas Turelat's other point was, that his prediction was, if someone does beat Kriegel, it's going to be a rookie, because it's going to be someone who's totally crazy, does a bold move, completely original, fresh thinking. And
yeah, I'm not sure about that. You know, like when you come to the X-Alps, there's so many things that you have to understand and how it works, and you know, you have to sort it out a little bit, you know, to find out how the things work. And I really think that sometimes your first Bull X-Alps is to prepare the second one, you know. But Kriegel won as a rookie the first time he participated, so anything is possible. But I think there are names out there.
Who would your money be on?
Well, I have many friends there, so I have to be careful. But I would say Simon is one of my favorites. Very humble, extremely talented. Yeah, extremely talented. Really good pilot. He knows what he's doing. He's been training. He put the hours, and he does it in the shadow. You know, like he doesn't very. So I like the style. So amazing. Simon can do something great. Max obviously is here to win. Damien Lacaze could again create a really cool, make a really cool race.
What about your fellow countryman, Jean?
Jean is great, man. Jean has a really good potential. I don't see Jean on a podium yet, but I think he would be a serious contender maybe in 2 or 4 or 6 years. You know, Jean is amazing. Like he's really put the energy and the training, and he flies really well. Now, what he might need is a bit more of airtime in the Alps, you know, and knowing these mountains. Aaron De Rogati has always been a favorite of
still amazingly strong on there.
Extremely strong. He's so one of the best pilots, and for whatever reason, he could never, you know, connect it all together. But maybe this is the year. Yeah. So who knows? Anything can happen, as you know, and this is going to be a super exciting race for sure.
Lastly, let's spare a thought for Seabram Warren, who will start day 2, 5 hours. I mean, you weren't here. It was amazing. He got such a rousing cheer when he. You know, he came into the athletes' dinner late at sort of 8:30, and just the house went up, and everyone was thumping the tables.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has an important decision to make, whether to pull an early night pass, and you know the rules and how that affects things. But if he does do that, still the hours, the time that he has to wait will begin at 6 a.m. That following day. So it's a tough one. That means his day 2 doesn't start until what, 12 o'clock.
You better fly well tomorrow and hope for someone to make a mistake. But you know what? I wouldn't worry too much. He's a great pilot. He's extremely fit. You have bad days, you know. Sometimes you have a bad day. That can happen to anyone. He's a great athlete, so I don't see him being cut out of the race as a first one. I think he's going to create some magic, and we'll see him in front in the next days. Probably a good kick for him. So I wouldn't worry too much. This is the magic of the race. It's you know, anything can happen at any time, and this is going to be beautiful. I'm so excited to watch the live tracking. The other day I was watching it on the Prologue. I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is the first time I can experience it, as you know, and this is going to be wonderful.
It is. And so thanks, Tom. We'll leave it there, and that's a great place to leave it. So tune in tomorrow to 3D live tracking. We'll be live on YouTube from 11:15. The race starts at 11:30, and I'll be joined by my co-reporter Gavin McClurg. The idea is we're going to run up the mountain live, and then Gavin will take off and we'll go to him in the air. So follow us there to catch all the action. We'll see you tomorrow, and then again at 9 p.m. tomorrow evening. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.